and welcome to the Coastal Restoration Toolkit debut. We appreciate you all taking the time to join us today. I am Elsa Carlisle Schwartz with Restore America's Estuaries, and since everyone on this call is a staff member of RAE's alliance groups, I'm sure you all know who Restore America's Estuaries is. And also on the phone today, we have my colleague, Hillary Stevens, who's also with RAE, and she's helping with the behind the scenes running of this webinar, as well as Dawn Spilsbury-Pucci and Jason Cook, who have worked on the creation and development of the toolkit. So first off, a few housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded, so if you have colleagues that were unable to join us, you can contact me and we can get them a link to this webinar to view at a later time. And all attendees are currently muted, but there is a question box. And so you have the ability to type in a question at any time throughout this webinar. We will be monitoring that question box. So please, feel free to ask questions as they come up. And at the end, there will be an opportunity to virtually raise your hand, and we can unmute you at that time and you can ask your question at that time as well. So the purpose of this call is to introduce you to the Coastal Restoration Toolkit, as well as to go over ways that you as our RAE Alliance can help us promote this new tool. We would like to thank NOAA Fisheries Office of Habitat Conservation Restoration Center, who commissioned this toolkit. And they, kind of a little bit of background is NOAA, as most of you know, has a grants program, and they were realizing that a lot of community members, friends of groups, smaller organizations were coming to them with great ideas for projects or problems and issues that they were seeing in their coastal communities, but they didn't have all of the resources needed to kind of turn that idea into a solution. So NOAA came to us and said, hey, can you help us develop something that can really help those coastal community members? And so that's how we developed the toolkit, and it will officially be launched next Wednesday, July 1st. But we're giving you all a sneak peek at the toolkit today. We really hope you enjoy it. So right now, I'm going to turn it over to Dawn to kind of give some more detailed background of the journey we took to create the Coastal Restoration Toolkits.
Thank you, Elsa. Good morning, everybody. This is Dawn. And wanted to thank RAE and NOAA the opportunity to work on this. It was a lot of fun, and we got to see and talk to people about what they care about around their coastlines from around the country, and it was really encouraging. So my colleague Lori Clark and I were brought on to help facilitate some meetings and gather some information from all the different communities around the coast, around the U.S. that both are the ones like yourselves that work with citizens that don't really do our job for a living, but really have a problem they want to address on the coast or are engaged and want to participate. And we also wanted to try to find those people as well. And so to try and shape up how best to kind of get this information, a steering committee of 7 people were engaged, and they represented people from each of the different regions that around the coast that we looked at. They helped us kind of identify the people, the audience in each of those areas. They also helped find us the catering and the locations. So appreciate all of their work and their help. Oh, and I should add, I don't have slides for this part, so that's why we're just gonna, your screen is just gonna be looking at the beautiful picture of Jason's website here with the birds flying. So, so the steering committee helped us formulate helped us formulate the meetings themselves. And the meetings I'm talking about are what we call the listening sessions. And we went to 6 different places. Elsa, Lori, and myself and others would pitch in along the way. And we went to the Pacific Northwest. We were here in Washington State, We also went to Norfolk, Virginia, Mobile, Alabama. We went to the Detroit up in the Great Lakes region. We went to Rhode Island. We're in San Francisco in California. We also talked to individuals in upstate Michigan and South Carolina. And then we also had a listening session for those that were invited but could not attend one of these meetings in person. And we asked at those meetings, what problems do you guys hear about? What problems do you guys see with your coast? What restoration opportunities, potential concerns are there? Who are you listening, or who are you hearing from? What are they asking? And if you had a magic wand, what would you do to help, get restoration going with these citizen groups? And I'll be transparent. The number one ask was that we have a person in each of these, that people that are new into this world, that don't know how to do restoration as a job, they really want to be handheld. They want somebody to talk to. But we knew that wasn't an option to be able to supply a human body for each of these regions. So the second best thing we could do would be to do a really comprehensive integrative toolkit. So we took all that feedback and we developed them worked with RAE and NOAA and developed these into modules, which you will see. And then RAE hired some amazing developers to put together a beautiful toolkit. We then took that toolkit and the website you're about to see, and we went to several different focus groups. This was just last year, we went to Stockton University, New Jersey. We went to Olympia, Washington, Padilla Bay, Washington, Mobile, Alabama, and then had a couple of sessions on the phone to say, is this what you were thinking? How does this work? And just to kind of vet the site. So we've made tweaks based on that feedback as well, and that is what Jason will be walking us through next. So Jason from Chariot Creative, take it over.
Thanks, Dawn. Hello, everyone. I'm going to walk you through the website, sort of do a visual walkthrough of the main features, and I'm going to try not to bore you guys too much. Try to keep it as quick as I can. And I guess I'll start by saying when Ray came to us at Chariot around 2 years ago, they came armed with some great focus group data, and of course, tons of knowledge about the industry. We did some research of our own and of course merged all the facts into kind of a foundational strategy. We ended up doing a sitemap and a user journey, which is just a fancy way of planning out the ideal path that users would take going through a website like this. We not only wanted to map out the pages and clicks, but try to identify the user state of mind and maybe their level of confidence in this project as they're starting or considering starting a project. And as Dawn mentioned, the live user testing we did really offered tons and tons of great feedback. I mean, we were able to see how people naturally navigated the website, also hear about content challenges, and I kind of watch live discussions happen as well. And that played a major role in having us make our decisions, extremely empathetic to the user. So I'll go through the visuals here. And we knew the majority of users would have a love and respect for the coast, like myself and a lot of people, and that's likely the reason why they would really be interested in starting a restoration project to begin with, whether they chose it as their careers or whether they're someone else in the community. So we wanted to kick off the experience, at least visually, by reminding them of that love for the coast, and we used beautiful, impactful imagery, and of course we applied some of the nerdy knowledge we have regarding composition, psychology, and color, of course. But we have visual cues in the content that try to pull the eye down through the site as you look. So I'm going to start scrolling, and I apologize for any jumpiness that might happen. I'm going to go as slow as I can here, but just to kind of walk you through the home page. I'll go back up to the top here soon and discuss the navigation. But the idea is kind of pull them down, surround them by beautiful imagery, and also start giving them glimpses into the 5 main topics of the website. We're trying to keep things visually digestible as they go down the page. It's clean calls to action, kind of pulling you into the website. I'll talk about project examples later, but this was a very important part of the toolkit, and that remedied one of the biggest questions and interests that we saw come back through the research process. And here we're sort of answering some of the questions that might be in someone's head. A lot of this data that we have on the site, I think, is meant to arm someone also who's going out and getting support, whether it be funding or just involving the community and sort of vocal, having that voice and vocalizing why, we need coastal habitat restoration and restoration in general. So here we kind of go through some hot topics, some of them topic-based, some of them more general. And then we get down to the footer. So I'm going to flash back up to the top here. And this demo video, you guys can, take a chance. When you get a chance, watch it. This video came out of feedback that we received during the listening and testing sessions. We thought it best to do a quick 90-second animated demo video. Click it, it pops up here. And that sort of is a quick guide to walk through the toolkit, like for first-time users. So feel free to watch that. And then the navigation is a big part of the site. So I'll go ahead and pull that down. You can see that we cover the 5 topics here across the top: flooding, coastal erosion, water quality, invasive species, and wildlife habitats. And each one has its own main hub page, which I'll go over in a minute. But based on the content, I believe RAE and NOAA thought there was enough content to break out 2 of these into regional subsections. So for invasive species and wildlife habitats, they actually break down into 6 different regions across the US for each element. So I'm going to visit one of these hub pages in a minute, but for example, if you click on flooding, it takes you to a hub page that talks about sort of an introduction to flooding. We introduce the user to the problem first and show some infographics and stats on that. And again, this is valuable data arming them. So we also included a print, save at, and share. So if they wanted to share this with a colleague, any page, most of the usable pages on the site have these options at the top right. So they can click share, enter their name, enter their friend or colleague's email address, and a quick message, and click submit. And that shoots out an email directly to them with a link to this page going, hey, I thought you'd be interested. Check this out. This is a good page with great content. And then further down the page, kind of continue talking about the problems around flooding, and then we bring them to a solution. I'm sort of walking through visuals. We're trying to make everything, as I like to say, visually digestible. So you're not overwhelmed with just paragraphs and too much narrative copy, because statistically, people don't read those, myself included. I think we're turning into a world of skimmers. So we sort of have to revolve our design and layout around that. And then we have a pre-footer here that's sort of, so they just don't hit a dead end. We pull them through the other parts within this topic they're in. But I'm going to go back up to the top here and show you that if, of course, we have hub pages and follow-up pages under each one of these topics, but if they were to try to go to invasive species, for example, which is broken into regional subsections, you see a map, a selection map here, which is a quick way to sort of highlight and also see the regional breakdowns. So I clicked on invasive species. If I were to see invasive species within the Pacific Northwest, click that, and here's the hub page for the regional specific invasive species problem and solution. So, and that's the crab is a video. We sort of, put in some lively animation and video where we can, where it's relevant. It's probably jumpy on your screen, but feel free to take a look when you can. Again, we're using background images as much as possible. And then I'll take you through, I'll just pick one, go to coastal erosion. Here again is the hub page. And then you'll see that these sub pages underneath this topic are all broken down here. So if I go to tools and resources, this would be tools and resources specifically for coastal erosion. Of course, if I were in the invasive or wildlife, it would be, wildlife habitat, region X, and then tools and resources. And here we mention goals, partners, and objectives. And I know that, we're often met with the decision certain decision points on how deep, the so-called rabbit hole should go. So I think Ray and NOAA thought it best to keep the toolkit as a launching point and not such a deep dive into the super granular resources for things like state or county-based permitting or contacts. Or I think that was sort of a level setting thing that could be revisited later. So if I go back to the top here, and I'll show you the quick breakdown. Actually, I'm just going to kind of travel through these subsections here. So we have contacts, and this is sort of the same formatting on every topic: local and government, state environmental extension programs, and community. And these are all links to important high authority links that are relevant to that topic or the topic and region. And see here, you can also follow through. This has highlights on all contacts, so you can just continue on for funding resources. And this is an important part of it. Won't bore you guys. You guys can check all this out, I'm sure, on your own time. And then I'm going to jump over, here's permitting info first, but I am going to jump over the project examples, which project examples is a section that we did. This a little unlike, it's not just another page within this topic. So I'll click over to it. After gathering feedback, from everyone, we learned just how valuable showing case studies and success stories was going to be to someone looking to start their own project. I mean, the first question is, wait, I want to see how other projects were successfully done, how they operated, who they partnered with, right? So we created a system that could act as sort of a filterable library of project examples. So you see here, I've clicked in from coastal erosion topics. So when I arrive at the system, we have this filter clicked on to show coastal erosion topics, and you can actually drill down to coastal erosion projects in the Great Lakes. And not all of these have, I'm going to try some of these in other regions. So not all of these have, you can click one or two filters and you're going to have either 0 or maybe 1 or 2 results. And the idea is to have this system grow over time as more projects are completed. So basically the idea is, like a living shoreline, we want the toolkit to be a living, growing thing. So more project examples, lots of community involvement, which I'll get into later with the media kit. And the idea is to have this probably 2 or 3 times the size it is, but you can see that we have tags to where you can actually, there's a quick topic you want to address in your community. You can click a tag down here at the bottom for projects that address algae blooms or projects that are on the citizen-driven level versus large scale. And of course, these tags might change. I think we're probably going to get some really great feedback once this thing launches. And everyone starts chiming in and helping out with how to make this thing better, even better than it is.
And Jason, I'm going to jump in really quickly and just note that you guys, as our RAE member groups, this is an excellent place where we can showcase the fabulous work that you guys are doing. You'll see that in a lot of these, there will be some of your projects already listed, but this is where you can really help us by sending me, links, videos, success stories that you guys have done, because we would really love to showcase your work. So feel free to send me some if you think you have some great examples, send them my way.
Absolutely. I think we're going to be asking for the help from you guys as much as possible. So the only other part I want to show you as far as the actual website goes, or the public side, would be, I believe, the FAQs. So at any point you get stuck, there's a quick search here at the top for the user to use, and you can also snap over to FAQs, and we actually have this field here being a automated or suggestive search, sort of like Google does. You start typing a question and you actually start getting results based on what you're typing. And this section is also going to be something that grows over time. We're going to get more questions and we're going to have more answers. But moving into the really cool part is the media kit. So you guys will have access to this link here. When you click it, it asks for a password, and you guys will get that password and have access to this. pretty soon here. So when you arrive here, you know, not all of you, well, all of you are industry professionals, and you have easy access to all the science and coastal restoration and conservation, very complex topics. But since the toolkit's purpose is to inspire action in the people who might not know where to start or where they're even what they're capable of, we've intentionally kept this marketing plan around this very casual and approachable. So I'm going to download, for example, you have a social media kit, promotional images, press release, and logo branding files. And so far we have the poster done, but we have a postcard and brochure file coming soon. And I think in this COVID era, these virtual digital elements, assets are going to be really important. So for example, I'm going to click download on the media kit here. And what I'll do is I'll switch my screen over so you can see my entire screen. 1 second. All right, so I've just downloaded this zip file here. I'm going to open it up and show you guys. Let's see, there it is. So we've prepared some images for you guys, and you should use these to sort of post to social media on your own accounts and also send out to your base. And the idea around this is to make it fun and make it approachable. I'm going to swap back here. So feel free to go through once you have the password and access to download this. Swap back over to the website. But the idea is that we want to talk to restoration veterans, but also, to presidents of a property owners association, a new town manager, or maybe the teacher who's researching volunteer hour opportunities for someone like the National Honor Society, as an example. And we can back up anything with all the facts and science they could want, but we have to get them to pay attention first, right? So when you do this, don't be afraid to, don't be scared of emojis or fun headlines to balance out the goals and science of what we're offering on the toolkit. When it comes to social media and emails, images, especially video, would be super valuable. And these are photos and messages that you should use to share on the toolkit, on your own accounts. But I think we're going to need you guys' help, and we've sort of created these branding elements here to sort of help drive some of the messaging than that. One other thing I'm going to show you, sorry to bounce around, I'm going to show you guys sort of a messaging kit here. I'm going to go back to the main screen. Hope you guys can see that. And we have a quick, of course, we have images that you can share and use and post these. And then we have a quick guide here that sort of walks you through best practices, when to post, what to post, images and branding, what tags to mention. And we definitely have a fun hashtag that we're going to start using called Restore Your Coast, hashtag Restore Your Coast. And here are some other, of course, that's here, and more instructions of other relevant hashtags that you can also include right here. So all these are optional, but it gives you an idea of what to do on Instagram. You can follow suit on Twitter and Facebook as well. Something else fun I want to show you guys as well that just got approved. And Elsa, you can chime in if you want. I've got a, let me find it.
And
so the idea, what?
I was going to say, while Jason's pulling up this next one, just another plug for your help. And as the RAE member groups, we kind of lean on you guys to really help get this out to your networks. And I know some of you are communications folks on the call, and some of you are habitat directors. So we're hoping that you will reach out to your communications folks or whoever does the social media and that kind of work at your organizations to really help, put this in your newsletters, put this on your social media, really get this out, and use the hashtags. And then we have, that Jason's pulling up, another fun way that we hope that you guys will participate with us in getting the word out about this toolkit.
All right, here's the idea, guys. Basically, we want to make this fun, right? So we've gotten approval to do temporary tattoos, and the idea is to make this fun, make it feel like a community, because that's what we need it to feel like. These can go out to any kind of leaders or volunteers that are out doing a coastal restoration projects. We're sort of envisioning, fun shots of kids or volunteers posting, flexing their bicep or anything goofy with these temporary tattoos on, and then immediately posting those on social media with the right hashtags. I think over the next months and years, this could really help to build a community and put a great spin and a great vibe on the entire toolkit.
And I also want to give a shout out. I know there's some folks on the call here who've really helped bring the toolkit to what it is today. We have Captain Alan Quinn from American Littoral Society, who really helped provide a lot of the content, especially in the wildlife habitat section. And Melanie and Sarah from Tampa Bay Watch reviewed the site, which was super important. And then we have Steve from Earth Corps, who participated in the early stages at a listening session. So already we have a lot of support from some of the RAE member groups, and we're just really hoping that that will continue. We tried to make it as easy as possible for you guys by creating this digital media kit, and I will be reaching out with the password and instructions on how to use this, but we're hoping that this will kind of be seamless and easy. And we are officially launching July 1. So the website is currently live, and it is restoreyourcoast.org. So you can go ahead and go to it and view it and play with it. We are asking that any social media and newsletter announcements and stuff, you wait until July 1st, because that will be our official launch date. But we wanted to get this information to you soon, and prior to that July 1 date, so that you kind of have some time, maybe start looking at your social media and newsletter calendars in the next month or so, and hopefully be able to fit this in. And I think most of you know me. If you can go to the contact section of this website, my email address is there, but feel free to reach out to me with any questions or anything about the site. If you have content for us that we can add to the site, that'd be super helpful. And then really, like I said, just helping us get the word out. And I hope to see all of you sporting those temporary tattoos out in the field sometime soon.
Awesome.
We have a question here
Oh,
from,
just what I was going to say. Thanks, Elsa. Go ahead.
will you be supplying any announcements on the site going live that we can post on Instagram?
Yes, absolutely. That will be part of the media kit. If they're referring to specifically to launch announcements, I'm not sure if we have one around the launch, but that's totally where the captions can come in. But we totally can. All of these can be used, and of course on Instagram you can post several images to one post, and it's actually better to do so because Instagram recycles that through users' feeds. But yeah, sure. I mean, I think this is probably the flagship post to use. One of the main ones. But if you guys need one specifically for the launch, maybe with the date on it, we're happy to create that and maybe throw that into the media kit here.
Are there any other questions about the site or about the media kit?
Yeah, you're all practiced up, Jason. There's no questions. You didn't leave any questions out there.
I know.
Oh.
I guess I did pretty good.
Jason, can you go over the little widget at the bottom left corner, please?
Yeah, sure. Here, I thought I had this up on the screen earlier when I was talking about the Instagram post, but this is what I was meaning to show you guys. Here's the folder full of images that we have set up for the post. So feel free to use any of these to launch the toolkit, on your own accounts. Here, I'm going to swap back to Google Chrome. And yeah, the ADA accessibility widget, is that what you meant, Elsa?
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, I did forget to cover that. So this is a widget that we've added onto the site that sort of covers all the bases as far as ADA accessibility, compliance, WCAG 2.1, and all that good nerdy stuff. But it gives options for contrast for people with visual impairments. There's a screen reader included. You can actually make the text larger, all kinds of stuff. So this is a really neat tool to add on that kind of covers all the bases. So, and we also have the code built to where I think this should not have too many contrast issues, even without that. And there's also certain things within the code for native screen readers for people who already have those installed in their browser.
All right. Any other questions? You guys can also virtually raise your hand and we can unmute you if you would like to ask a question, or you can type it in the question box if you have a question. All right. Like I said, you all know how to get a hold of me. This is Elsa again, and but yeah, we just encourage you to take some time to go through the site, especially in the project examples. Send us some content if you have it. We'd love to highlight the projects you guys do. Oh, here is another question from Melanie.
Yes, Melanie, it's been recorded. And question being, so we can send to some communication folks.
Yes, this is being recorded, and we'll be able to send out a link so that, yeah, it'd be great to share with your communications folks or anyone else who wasn't able to attend. And then we're always happy to, I can have a phone call or anything like that if your communications folks needs more detail, but this will be recorded.
Well, I hope that those of you that were involved with this early on and helped us kind of shape and form it, I hope that you feel like we kind of got close to threading the needle there and making it usable and friendly and workable. And I hope that it helps you guys out doing your jobs in communicating with these engaged community members. So I hope that this is going to work for you guys. And please, feel free to throw Elsa and ideas and comments. Looking forward to more feedback.
Great. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, yeah, I just invite you can go to restoreyourcoast.org on your own right now, and feel free to kind of tour the site a little bit more. And I'll be following up with the passwords for the media kit soon.
Yep. Thank you, Bill.